So, yeah, so we are live now. Let's start then. Let me start the recording.
Shall we?
Yeah, so I will start with the introduction, and then I will give the presentation to you
Mhm.
guys to handle that out. So, start. So hello everybody. So you can see the only disability is when people cannot see human potential, and that is something which can only be handled through enabling those people who are differently able to enabling all your application software, the system that you make accessible to everyone. This was obviously quoted by Devra Rue, but I think Kepler team has done a lot in this area. Let's see. So about multi-cloud for you, we stand for evangelism and community. We are bridge between corporate and startups. We bring real engineers out of their bunkers. So here, most of the people who comes are directly from the engineering team. Uh, uh, Obviously, all of them have not been a public speaker or something like that, but we give opportunity to direct opportunity to the engineering teams directly to come and speak about what they are doing differently, research team, experts, scientists, and from all over the place. We guide the engineering community. We help the engineering community from because we have a strong team of people, a strong group and community of people from all walks of life, all walks from all side of technology. We do consultancy, we do community, we also build, we are building product, multiple product, and we do research. And mostly we are placed in multi-cloud and data. So we do most of the things multi-cloud strategy, data science, and AI. We have a different team for that. We do a lot of research on blockchain, and then extreme engineering. This is our impact. This is just 10 15 days data, and we just started almost 6 7 months back, almost a year in a way, but obviously in a more professional way 6 7 months back. And like people from all over the world connect with us, come on our platform. It's just the one platform which is the fifth IR, which is live from just 4 5 months, but we have different meetup groups with multiple channels from where people connect and interact with us and our platform. So certificate recording and content for this session specifically is available on Fifth IR. You just have to search Google with Fifth IR plus Kepler, nothing else. Fifth IR is more on high value driven engineering. We build courses, events, mostly events. The courses are mostly the event recorded event directly by the engineer, raw engineers, and they are on very high quality. Obviously, they may not have so much lights and camera, but they are very great in action. Uh, this is a SaaS-based self-service platform. We connect technologies from a startup and corporate. This is more like a platform to transitional to give a transitional support to the transforming to the transformation which is happening due to fifth industrial revolution, which is obviously indirectly inducing everything to change. This session is automate accessibility on a web app, and this is by Kepler team. And Kepler team, as you know, is one of the core team of the Publicis Sapient, specifically around usability and interactive. And they were set up 4 5 6 years back, and it's more around research, interaction, making experience, bringing experience in a different note, a different light, so that it's more accessible in multiple form. Team has built multiple software in the background, multiple product in the past, and this time they have come up with a tool called Alternate, which can help team who are building web application, or anything which is related to web app, or a thing which is more interactive in terms of functionality, more accessible to the people who are differently able. I am Anjani Kumar. I am inventor, leader, mentor, founder, and enabler. I have multi-decades of direct service to the IT industry. I am ex-publicist, RBS, Microsoft. I am the chief evangelist of multi-cloud for you. This is my LinkedIn profile. And I have with me, I have my team, Bhaskar, Dheeraj, Rick. They are the co-founder from different part of the world. And over to Kepler team.
Thank you, Anjani. Let me share my screen. I hope my screen is visible.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So Anjani gave a little background, but there are certain data points which are important and would help to understand the whole value proposition of Alternat. In today's world, there are around 40 to 50 million people who are suffering from visual despair, visual impairment, and this is unfortunate. Almost half of the population lives in India. In the session today, we will be presenting Alternat, which has been recently open source and with the aim of making accessibility accessible. This is three of us who are the core contributor of this project. First, Alok Kumar. This is me who is speaking. In the middle, I have Mayank Jain, and then Nitin Katyal. Three of us are part of the Kepler team with the objective and the ambition of making technology accessible to everyone, making technology solution really solve world hard problems. This is how we plan to cover the details around Alternat. Our objective and desire is to make you comfortable about the whole tool set, how it has been built, and how it can be used for your specific situations and use cases. In order to understand Alternat, it is important to understand the why. This is a normal looking website, no problem, a beautiful image. But if the site is inaccessible to a visually impaired person, probably this is how it is going to look like. Now, it is not about a certain group being excluded, but it has got severe financial implications. Almost 7 billion is lost everywhere every year due to unaccessible e-commerce applications. The number could be more because a lot of these data are not reported as well. But haven't we solved the problem of accessibility? If you have dabbled with web, then you know that then you know that if you attach alternate text to an image, it makes it accessible. So the technology solution is there, but in the reality, it's not affordable. The time it takes to add alternate text to thousands of images could take months, could take so many people. You can always imagine and you can do the calculation as well. So at the moment, the problem is not the technology solution, but the unaffordability of it. What is required, we need to lower the barrier of adoption of accessibility solutions, and that's where Alternate comes into picture. Alternate is an open source tool with the aim of lowering the barrier of adopting accessibility solution. At the moment, the focus is on fixing the images so that they can have the alternative text. And as we move forward along with the common community, the idea is to add more tools and more solutions to it. Getting started is very, very easy. And let me show you how. Let me know if you can see my terminal. Can you see my terminal?
No, I'm able to see the screen. Sorry, the slide, but not the terminal.
Okay, just a second. Um, Stop sharing. Let me share back. I hope you would be able to see it now.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So installing Alternate is pretty straightforward. All you need to do is like pip install Alternate. That's what it takes to install pip. Now, this statement also means that Alternate has been implemented in Python. The reason we chose Python because it's widely used. very easy to get started. Remember, the aim is to make solutions affordable and accessible to lower the barrier, and Python is a wonderful, wonderful tool to enable it. Getting started once the alternators installed is pretty straightforward. Let me show you an example where I will generate the alternative text for an image. This is how it looks like. Don't worry about the syntax because that's what we will be looking at later. But think of it as a black box wherein I'm asking alternate to generate the alternate text for this particular file and dump it at a designated folder. That's all it takes. And then behind the scenes, it is going to do its own processing to generate the alternate text, which can be integrated to the application. So as you can see that for the image, I will show you the image as well. It contains this kind of text. It has been extracted from the image. There is no manual step evolved. And of course, you can take this and then kind of integrate it to other workflow steps of your system. Right now, I generated it for one image, but as no surprise, you can do it for the whole folder as well. I'm not going to run it because there are a bunch of images which I don't want to run, but it is important to note that alternate works not only for a single file, but can work in a batch mode if you specify the folder. Just to make sure that you get the idea, all I did was I installed Alternate and then I provided the image or the image folder and it generates the results for me. Now, in the real world, along with the generation comes the collection of images as well. So it is very much required, and this also came from our experience plus talking to some other teams around as well, wherein just generating the alternative text is not sufficient. We also need to collect the images, and henceforth in Alternate, it is also possible to download images automatically. Again, all you need to do is to call this one. This is how the syntax looks like. I say collect, and then you specify the URL that is going to it is going to download all the images from that website. That's what easy it is. So think of it as two-step process. The first step is point Alternate to your website from where it is going to download the images. Once the images are downloaded, then you point it to the folder and then it is going to generate all the alternative text for you. Again, I'm going to now share back my presentation. So we did a quick demo of the generation. Think of it as a black box wherein you provide the image, it is going to generate the alternative text for you. Now, along with the generation, there is a collection step, even though it comes before it. So point to your website, it is going to download all the images and then you can generate alternative text for it. The whole idea is that the current process, which is almost manual everywhere, where there will be a designated team who is going to download partially script, partially manual, and then some other team is going to sit and kind of write down all the alternative text. The objective is to automate all those processes using machine learning and automation so that the time required is reduced, and henceforth organizations and business will look forward to make their web application accessible. Again, a quick reiteration: at the moment, the current version only works for images, but in future we do plan to add other tools to it. Over to you, Nitin.
Okay, thank you, Alok. So Now I'm going to share my screen. So let me know if my screen is visible to you guys.
Yes, Nitin.
Okay. So in this section, we'll talk about how one can use Alternat. So Alternat is available in three modes right now. One is the application mode, the second is the library mode, and the third one is the web API mode. So what you see in the quick demo showcased by Alok, the Alternate was run in the application mode where a command line interface is available to you and you can use that to run Alternate. The alternate is also available in the library mode. So in the library mode, you will be able to use alternate to extend your existing applications. We'll talk about this later on. And then there is the web API mode. In the web API mode, you can use images or URLs, and there will be a REST API available. You can send a post request with the URL or the base64 image, and you will get the JSON response with the alternate text for that image. Let's just look under the hood. So think of the alternate goes through this process, which you can think of as a pipeline. So the first thing that alternate does is it extracts caption, which is like a visual description of the image, and then OCR, which is the textual content within the image. When data is extracted, it is passed on to the filters, which clears out relevant give you the relevant result back, and then it is passed on to the text aggregators. And the primary responsibility for text aggregator is to sort the textual data within the image so that it makes more sense, sentence by sentences to the user. And then the final result is generated as a JSON. We'll talk about filters and aggregators. So if you look at the image on the left hand side, you can see there is a Batman and you can see a Joker as well on the display. But when you do an OCR analysis of that image, you will find that there is some textual content behind and next to the Joker that you see on the panel. So I'll quickly just pull up that image now so that I can show that image to you. So here is this image. So if I zoom on to this image, you can actually see that there is some textual information next to the Joker over here. So what will happen is when you run the OCR analysis for this image, you will get into those situations, where you'll detect text which is irrelevant if you look at the context of the image. So you need to filter out those data, and that is where filtering is important. And if you look at this image on the right hand side, here you will see why text segregation is important. So if I tell you to read this text information line by line from top to bottom, someone might say the actual representation or the text content of this image is great hotel, we can't recommend this hotel, or you might say we can't, great hotel, recommend this hotel. So how you read this textual information is where text aggregators come in. So we'll talk about this in details later on. So this is the architecture pipeline for Alternate. So Alternate first goes through the collection task, wherein it collects all the images. When you specify the URL, it downloads all the images from that URL. Then it goes through the generation task, wherein the images that you have downloaded, you want to generate alt text for that. And then it passes on from the rule engine where the text aggregations and filters are applied, and then you eventually get the final JSON result. So for the architecture of collection, I would now request Mayank to talk about it. Mayank, over to you.
Thank you, Nitin. As discussed earlier by Alok, collection mode of Alternate is used for crawling single page URL or whole websites. This is done by Node.js based web scraping tool called Apify. Apify itself supports various crawlers. In this current implementation, we are using Puppeteer crawler, which was developed by Google for Chrome text automation and uses Chrome headless browser for browser automation. Because it downloads and renders full page using actual Chrome browser, hence it is more robust and works on edge cases like where images are rendered using JavaScript, or not in actual HTML. So, and the whole package is then Dockerized so as to make installation and deployment more robust. So, over to Nitin.
Okay, thank you, Mayank. So next we'll talk about the architecture of the generation task. So the generation task comes with three drivers. Drivers basically are the set of tools or services you want to use to compute the alt text. So the first driver is the Azure based driver, uses the Azure Computer Vision API. The second one uses the Google Vision library and Google Vision API. And the third one is the open source toolkit that is there and it's based on open source toolsets. So the reason to have support for both Azure, Google, and then open sources, we want to kickstart so that people can kickstart Alternat. You have Azure and Google services right in place. You can use them, but you will need those services in place, and you have open source toolkit otherwise. Currently, we are using EasyOCR, which is a PyTorch based OCR extraction library. So the open source toolkit uses EasyOCR to extract the OCR within the image. By default, Alternat runs within the open source toolkit, and you can configure it to use Azure and Google. We'll talk about that in the next section as well. Next, we'll jump on to filters. So as we talked about filters before, so filters are used to remove irrelevant, insignificant data or text content within the image. So the following filter options are available in Alternat. The first one is caption confidence threshold. So using this option, you can filter out caption data with confidence lower than the set threshold. Similarly, you will have the thresholds for OCR and label data. And the last filter we have is OCR line height to image height ratio. This is to filter out textual sentences which do not take significant portion of the image, as you saw in the Batman image. Aggregators, as we saw here. So if, let's say, we use this OCR data without aggregation, and let's say we are running from top to bottom, this might be the actual sentence that you will get from this, picture. So you will see, we can't great hotel, recommend this hotel, and then the staff's over, the service can. So you see that, the words are jumbled up and out of order. This is where text aggregators come into picture. They are enabled automatically in Alternat, and you can configure it to be a row wise or column wise. So right now, if we use text aggregation row wise, you will see create hotel. We can't recommend this hotel as the first row, and that will be read first. And then the following rows, which is the staffs were fast, friendly, and efficient, and the service can be frustrating, and so on. You can configure it to be column wise as well. In that scenario, you will get all the text within the green color banners first, and then within the red color banners next. So coding with Alternat, as you've seen in the demo, the Alternat was used in the application mode. Now we'll see how to use Alternat in the library mode. So in the library mode and in the collection stage, the first step is to import the collector module, and this is how you would do that. The second step is to initialize the connector module, and the final step is to download the images and provide the URL from where you want to download and the designated folder where you want to save the images. Similarly, for the generation stage, the process is similar. You first import the generator module. In the next step, you initialize the generator module. And in the final step, you call a method generate alt text from file and provide the file name and then the folder where you want the JSON results. In the application mode, you have seen this before. So you run python app.py collect command, and then you provide the URL and the output directory path where you want to save the images. And similarly, for the generation stage, you will provide two arguments, the input image file path you will use the generate command, and then you will provide input image file path and then the output directory path where the results needs to be saved. Alternate can also be accessed over a REST API. So to start the REST API, you just navigate, clone the alternate repository, you navigate to the API folder, and alternate uses fast API to expose web APIs over a server and uses UVCon, which is like a Python equivalent, which is like a Python server, but with Node equivalent performance. And this is the command to run the web server. And the final step is that you send a post request with the base64 image to the following endpoint. So let me just quickly demonstrate this. So what I will do is I have already cloned the repository over here. So I will navigate into the API folder, and then I will use the UVCon command to start the web server. Okay, just a second. So let me just start the server. Yeah. So once the server is up, what I will do is I will quickly navigate to Postman. And here is a sample request I have already here. So here I provide the base64 key and the base64 image over here. And then I will use the following path and send a post request over here. Meanwhile, while this is being processed, let me just show you the image over here. So this is the image for which we have sent the base64 results. And you see there is some textual information over here, which says 35% off any cooking classes package purchased between 610 and 617, limited availability. So let us just go there, and when the request has been finished, you will see the caption says appear to be a text, which is like a description of the image, that it contains text. Then if you move to the OCR, you'll see that it appears to contain the following text, and which is what you will find in the image, which is 35% off any cooking classes purchased between 610 617, limited availability. And that's why the alternate recommended alternate text becomes both the caption and the OCR. So this is what the alternate recommends for the image. Next, we'll look at how to configure alternate in library mode. So as before, you would load the generator module. Now, if you want to use Azure services, what you will do is you will pass on the name of the driver to the generator. And then the final step is the same, wherein you call the generate all text from file, provide the sample image path, and then the results where you want to store the result. So again, to configure the driver, what you would do is you would import the generator module. Let's say we are using the Azure generator over here. So there is a method called get driver config, which will load the existing driver configuration for Azure. And let's say here we want to update the caption confidence for this driver and want to use it a 90% threshold. So which would mean that any caption detected using Azure APIs, which has confidence level less than 90%, will be removed automatically from the data. And this is how you set the new driver config. You add to the config, you change the caption confidence threshold, and then you set the driver config. And then again, the final step is to generate all text from file. You provide the path to the image and then the folder where it needs to save the results. To configure in application mode, there is an additional argument that you need to provide, which is the driver config file path. We already provide some samples for all the drivers. So let me quickly show you how the configuration look like. So I'll just go to my repo, and inside the sample folder, you will find generated driver conf. And inside this, you will find 3 JSONs for individual drivers. So let's say if I want to open my open source driver configuration, I can just quickly go over here and open this JSON file. And here you can see the existing thresholds. So the caption confidence threshold, the OCR confidence threshold, the label confidence threshold, and similarly the OCR height ratio to image ratio thresholds. And the similar keys will be available for Azure and Google as well. So you can change the configuration over here. And then when you are using the application mode, you just provide the path to this configuration file, and Alternat will use that in the application mode. So to summarize everything that we have presented so far, Alternat comes with ready-to-use tasks. Primarily, it has collection and generation. Collection is an automated image scraping from websites, and generation is ML-powered alt text generation. There are multiple execution modes. The batch modes. In the batch mode, you can batch process alt text generation. In the real-time mode, using the web API, you can pass on the URL or the base64 image, and you can generate alt text. Alternat is platform independent. Entire code base is in Python, and the environment is Dockerized. So irrespective of your operating system, you can use the Docker environment, and then you can run Alternat. In this section, we'll talk about how one can extend Alternat. So let us quickly see that if we want to add a new generation driver, how we will do that in the code base. So what I will do is I will quickly open the code over here. So here, this is what the repo look like. So inside the alternate repo, you have an alternate directory. Inside the alternate directory, you will find a generation folder. And inside the generation folder, you will see Google, Microsoft, and open source. So let's say if I want to add a custom driver over here, what I will do is I will add a new directory over here with the name, let's say custom, and then I would follow the same schema over here. So I would create a config file using and name it as config, and then I would also add an analyzer file which would handle the core logic for an implementation for this custom driver. Let me just quickly copy paste a configuration file from, let's say, open source. So, and here you can set the default confidence for caption, OCR label, and then OCR height ratio to image threshold. Now let me quickly copy paste the analyzer code as well from open source. So inside the analyzer code, what you need to do is you need to implement describe image, extract labels, which are individual methods for describing an image and extracting labels for an image. So whatever implementation you want to put in for your custom driver, you will put it over here. And then for any kind of OCR analysis work, what you can do is you can create your own implementation over here and add the data to the JSON. So whatever implementation that goes is added to the custom driver over here will become part of this custom generation driver. Now to expose this custom driver to the library, what you need to do is you need to go to the generator.py file inside generator. And here you just need to add another custom driver over here. So now the way we used library mode before, user can pass on a custom driver which you have implemented, and it will work and implement your logic and give you the alt text results. So in this section, we'll see how Alternat can be used in the real world. So the first use case is uploading to CMS. So what I have over here is a Django based implementation of a dummy site. So you see, this is a site that has been, implemented in Django. And let's say I want to add alt text for this. So my first step would be to collect these images that I have already done. So what I'll do is I'll quickly show that the collection stage and the results over here, or I can just, run that as well. So let me just run this. So here I'm, collecting all the images from this URL, and I'll be storing them into a sample test folder. So once this finishes, I can see a test folder over here. And when I open this test folder, you can see all the images over here. The next step would be to run the generation for, all these images. That I have already done before, and I have stored the results in this data dump folder. That I have stored in the results folder. So result, there is a folder. Here you will find all the JSON files for all these images with the same name. So let's say I want to upload this to my Django server. What I will do is I will clear this one. I will run the upload command, and then what I will do is I will provide the directory where the results are saved. So once I do this, here is something that you may want to see. So this is what the site might look like to a visually impaired person. You don't have alt text across the platform. So what you see is black images across the site. And now once the uploading and review process has been done, you will see that the alt text appears over here, and you can see the description of the image. So here, the alt text for this image is a person standing in the forest. And then you can compare that to the original site as well. So this is what, the upload process might look like. The next step is to adjust the configurations. So let me use the configuration file again. So what I'll do is I will navigate to my sample folder. So here, let's say if I'm using this image, which is a GUI based application, it looks like a GUI application, and there is some textual information over here. So let me first run this, analyze this image. And using the Azure configuration file. So here you can see that I'm using the driver config file path, and I'm giving Azure JSON, which is the part to the configuration file to the Azure driver. And here is the part to the input image file, which is the sample2. And now I want my results in the output directory pass. So once I run this command, so you'll see that the OCR that has been detected for that image is here, which says life is like riding a bicycle. To keep your balance, you must keep moving. But whatever result that we have got over here is out of this threshold values. So for right now, the OCR threshold values is at 0.75. So what will happen if I, let's say, want to quickly change that? So what I will do is I'll just go to that configuration file. I'll move on to my JSON file over here. And let's say I want to change the OCR value to 0, for example. So this would mean that any kind of textual content detected should pass through. And now if I run the same command again, so here you see, like after I moved my OCR threshold to 0, you will see some irrelevant text as well. So that is split neg here. So if you compare this with the previous result, you will see how this configuration is useful. And this is how you would use it for actual images. And you will tune this threshold based on the kind of result you would want out of this alternate application. So next we'll see how you can contribute to alternate. So contributing to alternate is easy. Alternate is open source and available on GitHub on these links. So you can contribute to alternate by raising issues or feature requests on GitHub page. The documentation of alternate is also open source. So I can quickly open this. So this is the repository available on GitHub. And similarly, you can look at the documentation over here. on the docs. So here everything that we had talked about, configuration, running alternate in 5 minutes, what all configuration options are available for all the modes will be available. So we would encourage everyone to go use this project as it's open source. Next is the roadmap for alternate. So for alternate, we have the following actions planned for the future. So we are planning to add an open source image caption service. So right now, the open source toolsets only have OCR functionality. Next is we want to add accessibility auditing features. And the final thing we want to add is the result verification workflow to this, so that a review process comes into picture, wherein when you run this images using alternate, and someone can review it and then upload to the platform. So lowering the barrier is a step-by-step process. Alternate is one of those tool among the entire tool chain. And now we are open for Q&A. So any questions everyone have?
Yeah, people on the internet, they can ping me directly. Those are on Facebook or LinkedIn, or directly on the Fifth IR platform watching this stream. One question that I had was, this is fantastic. Like, obviously we do a lot of content-based work, and we have a complete content-based platform. Fifth IR has a lot of images coming up, and I know alternative text is really a fun to work with, right? So it becomes very difficult to put everywhere, put it everywhere correctly. While most of the platforms, social media platforms, specifically because we work a lot on SEO and those kind of things also. So it becomes difficult when you post, and if you don't have an alternate text, it becomes a problem. So obviously it's a tool. Now you guys are planning to create a API or anything which can be directly accessed, or you can directly scan your website and get all the images downloaded on the flow, or is like first is that you have to uh, run this code on your machine, on your system, and then do it. So is there some API planning also going on, like SaaS based planning or something like that? Because I see there's a lot of potential in this, the way it has been built. And
I can answer this question. This is Alok. So at the moment, all the service boilerplate code, in fact, the whole service stack is uploaded. The only thing that would be required for someone is to host it themselves. So as of now, we are not hosting it, but rather letting the community figure out, on what platform they want to kind of use it. In terms of step that you describe, pointing, downloading the images, every of those tasks are already baked in. So think of it this way. So let's say if you are authoring a content on a CMS, there is already a API. So with a simple integration, whenever you upload an image with the API, you can generate the alt text, and then it can be updated, reviewed, or tweaked. The only step that is going to be required by a team to use it is to host it themselves. They can host it inside their organization because it's a Docker, or if they want to put it in some other place where it is available on the internet, again, because it is running on Docker, they can do that very quickly. The short answer to your question is the API available on internet? The answer is no, but we have tried to provide the basic stuff in place so that hosting becomes quite easier.
okay, this is great. Uh, yeah, thanks, Alok. I get that. So anyone who wants to implement a API layer ever bit are free to do it, because it has a free MIT license, right, or something like that.
Yeah, everyone can use it. It is pretty relaxed license.
Yeah.
So anyone can use it for commercial purpose, for non-for-profit places, everywhere it can be used.
Okay. Okay. Uh, any other question? Trying to look at the channels, see if something has come up. I'm seeing a little less presence today on YouTube and Facebook also. So, but anyway, let me check and then we'll confirm it's all good. No, I can't see any question. So this is great. I would just like to share one more thing, which is like where the content and the code obviously is there on the GitHub. But can I share my screen now? It's okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So so people like those who join later, those who want to those who see the recording later, for them uh, they can take the certificate for alternate like this session, autograph with the Kepler team, and the code is KPTS. It's in caps. Here you can see in the red. It's K Kepler team. Um, just hold on. I think something has happened. Uh, can you see my screen, guys? No, right? Okay.
No, it's a blank screen.
Now it's okay, right?
Yes,
Okay.
someone is swimming. Yeah.
Yeah, it's KPTS. So the code is KPTS. One can try and then they can get the certificate. How to get the certificate? I will simply show you where the whole system is currently running. And so this is the team profile which is on 5th IR, and this is the session which is also being broadcasting here. Uh, on the on a private platform, and then we have a certificate. We can directly click it, keep your profile and detail, and then the source code is directly linked to the GitHub. And once we get the PDF document, it will get attached here. So everything will be there the same at the single place. Anyone can search alternate directly on from Google or from here, and they will be able to find out the course. This one. So with this, I think this is the end of our session for this year, and you guys were the last team to which we are interacting. So happy New Year and Merry Christmas, and hopefully we see a lot of bang next year with the first session coming up on 10th of January, for which around 700-800 people have signed up. That is with Microsoft on SQL Server, Azure SQL. And like this was super exciting, Alok and the team, to interact with you today and get the whole lot of detail that you have given around obviously alternate. And obviously many people who still haven't joined will be much enlightened to see this once they come back and watch it later.
Again,
Thank you for having us, and you too have a wonderful vacation and a happy new year.
Yeah, thank you everyone.
thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.